Dispatch at 3009.
So,
I'm walking up to him.
I'm gonna have to get your bread and eggs.
Is there a unit that we can transfer the Sheriff of Gallatin to?
Oh, he's telling us to go. Oh, shoot, we gotta go. He said, get out of here. Get him out of here. Yep, ain't gotta tell me twice. Apparently, they don't have them contained and 3 cops were shot. I guess there's an active shooter. 3 police were shot. We gotta go.
39 for Gallatin. Copy, this is about Gallatin. That's permanent.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, you're fine. Alright. Hey, we gotta clear back this hole.
That looked pretty crazy. What's up, everybody? There's a active shooter situation, I guess, happening in Kentucky. The suspect is barricaded. Multiple cops shot. We have the radio broadcast playing, listening in to see what's going on. And if you guys could, both of my phones are dying, but if you could like the stream, please, I'd appreciate that. No notifications, all right? No notifications, so if you could like the stream, please, help it get out in the algorithm. Let me see what new information I can pop up as well. The multiple cop shot. Oh, hey, when it does that.
3772 to 3311. Good. We got civilians coming from the backside of Service Road trying to get out of here.
Florence 132, respond 212 Main Street, Fields of Florence, room 214, reference difficulty breathing, 86-year-old female subject, O2 level low, difficulty breathing, alert and conscious, time of dispatch 2308.
2 officers injured after being shot. Yeah,
we may want to block it with a cruiser. $3,009 all units. Any units parked on Service Road. We need the cruisers moved so we can get MRAP and other equipment up to the scene for SWAT. Please have our unit relieve. Kenton County units are on the way to relieve you. Please relieve your spot. Come down and get your car moved.
Two cops shot, injured. Person's barricaded. I think inside of a house or an apartment. Maybe an apartment. Let's see what we can find out here.
Was literally just about to turn the TV off and go to sleep, sleeping tired.
I'm telling you. It's the same video. So there was a shootout.
3009.
2 cops
3009
shot. One person here claims they were responding to a DV call.
SRO Gregory's been notified. He's going to come and open up Walton High School for reunification purposes. 10-4.
Boone Center, Squad 32 is responding.
Service Road's clear. Is that Squad 33 or Squad 32?
Copy, Service Road clear.
Squad 32 is responding.
You're responding 2310.
Do I want the link for the police scanner? I'm pretty sure that's what we're listening to, isn't it? Two police officers shot in Walton, Kentucky. You sent the name of the apartment on Discord?
Thirty-seven 73 to community. That's just FYI. We got a civilian drone. Looks like it's over where it drops.
Civilian drone. Uh-oh. Look at this. Law enforcement responding to an active shooter. Look at this video.
They kicked the door down. They kicked the door down. There's the gun. Yep. Oh my God. Yep. Go in the house. Go in the fucking house.
They've got
SWAT 81 Station, Quarter 2312.
Earlier 12, I'm not clearing traffic.
ARs are drawn.
273, 210, get shot down.
Shotguns are drawn. Negotiators here.
That was crazy. Look at all the cops out there. Look at this.
They kicked the door down.
That's some shots rang out.
There's the gun. Yep. Oh my God. Yep. Go in the house. Go in the fucking house.
It's cracked, just a little bit.
They've
I would've
got
chucked the
K9s
grenade in
here,
that
several
bitch.
of them.
Boom!
Just want to confirm we've got eyes on the right one.
ARs are drawn.
273, 210, get shot down.
Shotguns are drawn. Negotiators here.
All right, let me see what else we got. I wonder if there's any live feeds. I don't see any, but there's people out there. And the radio.
Run. Director Florence 30. He's on the SWAT center. What do you need? Advise him on the backside. There's a car that's gonna black and I'll go across. Yeah, we already did it real quick. $3773.
Kentucky.
That civilian drone's now in my flight area.
Copy, civilian drone now in your flight area.
10 earlier, 34, 36, switch to Boone SWAT.
Drone on the ground.
Drone on the ground, 2316.
Crazy times, man. Who's live out there? Anybody? Town Creek Crossings Apartments. Okay. Town Creek Crossings.
Boone Center to Union Squad 72, checking your status. 10-4, 2318.
I know it's a loop, Heather. There's nothing else to play.
Drone back in the air.
Drone in the air, 2318.
Only the scanner audio we can listen to. Dun. That was crazy. All the footage of them at the door. Wow. More footage in comments.
Leaving the traffic on channel 1.
They kicked the door down.
Tell me what's going on out there in the country. Walton, Kentucky. Oh, we got some people tonight a little bit. Oh, man. I guess people are just uploading clips.
Boone Center 202.
202, go ahead.
2009.
Can I have a third squad, non-urgent? We're going to send them to reunification.
Copy, third squad, non-emergent.
For the notes, we're making contact with DA with no answer or response.
1312.
10-4, 2020.
Okay. Abaca. What's that? One 312. What is that? ACAB? What's that? What's that supposed to be? People just disappeared. All the people posting clips. crickets right now. Oh, is this a clip right here? Oh, maybe I got a live feed. Wait, I don't know. Let's see what this is here.
Being Center 202.
It just paused for a moment. Okay, you can see a SWAT officer
Look at the SWAT.
sprinting over to it.
Whoa, wake up, wake up, wake up.
He might have just gone behind it. But you can still see even some folks in this Yes, can you hear me?
Information only. The next squad recommends Tyner.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, guys. So you can still see folks in this Kroger parking lot. That SWAT vehicle just arriving on scene. A very large presence here. But Mike and Ashley, we'll send it back to you for now. We'll give you updates as soon as we have them.
All right, Sean McKinnon live for us there on that scene in Walton, Kentucky. And if you are just joining us here at 11 o'clock, we have some breaking news. 2 officers have been shot there at that scene in Walton, Kentucky at an apartment complex. We got the report about a little more than 40 minutes ago, and we are starting our newscast with that. We have team coverage. This is the area there in Walton, Kentucky at the Town Creek crossing that's behind the Kroger there in Walton. And Sean McKinnon is there on the scene with a large police presence. You see about 40 or 50 police vehicles and multiple officers from different agencies. And we also have Rachel Whalen, who is at the hospital at UC Medical Center, where those officers, we're told, have been flown via air care.
Couple of things I want to point out here. First of all, not only getting word from local establishments, restaurants, bars, and other people who live in that complex, the Town Creek crossing there behind the Kroger in Walton, getting the word from a lot of folks that they're getting those emergency messages on their cell phones telling them to shelter in place. Again, if you're just joining us, I feel that we can comfortably report now that there was an incident in this complex behind the Walton Kroger. I saw video of it a little bit earlier that we can't show you yet. We're trying to get into contact with the person who shot it. But in the incident that I watched, it was in that complex. You had about 10 officers, 12 officers. I don't know the department. I don't know if it was a county crew. I don't know if it was Walton Police. It was too far to see exactly who was there. But this was about 10:05, 10:06, about an hour and 15 minutes ago. And you saw them trying to kind of use a battering ram or kick down the door to get into one of the homes. And they weren't successful in the 10 or 15 seconds that I was watching. And then after a lull in the action, as you're watching live on the scene, some officers are actually running back to their SWAT vehicles, the sheriff's vehicle there. Basically, after a lull in the action, you saw all of the officers scatter in that video that I was watching. Some of them running behind cars, some of them running off behind some of the landscaping, but it appeared that shots were spewing out of that place. We don't know if anybody's been taken into custody. And again, we haven't officially confirmed that officers have been shot, but I feel comfortable. Sources are telling me tonight that 2 officers were shot and flown to UC Medical Center.
And it is important to note to our viewers as we're watching this play out live that this scene is significantly back from where the actual scene is and where officers were at that complex. We are not showing any of the work that could jeopardize any of the investigation or anything that's happening right now. The police work that is happening, our crews are behind the tape, the police tape, and pretty far back from where this actual scene first unfolded.
And we're talking about the brotherhood and the sisterhood of different departments and agencies showing up to help there in northern Kentucky. Same.
You might have to tear that whole apartment down. Get a rook or something. Tear the whole thing down.
She saw the chopper come in at about 10:40. You've been watching Cincinnati police officers, in fact, show up and showing their support to their brothers over in northern Kentucky, Rachel.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. When we got here around 10:30, there were multiple Cincinnati police officers rushing to get here to the emergency room. If you take a look, you can still see some of their cars here, and a lot of them were gathered outside of the doors here. You can see the night chief out there now with a few other officers. And then about 10 minutes after we arrived, around 10:40, we did see a helicopter land here at UC Medical Center after we heard on police scanners that someone from that scene was being flown into the hospital here. I also brand new information, just talked with a gentleman here. He's actually the director of the Citizen app. He took video of when, I saw it with myself, I saw his video of when Walton ambulance pulled up, and they did actually push someone out of a gurney into the hospital. I saw the video myself, however, I couldn't make out if that person was moving. Again, we don't know the condition of anyone. We just know that sources tell us that 2 officers were shot, and I have seen someone get wheeled in here from an ambulance from Walton, Kentucky, as well as a helicopter landing at the top of the medical center. But obviously, a very urgent situation that has called for a lot of police presence, even here at the hospital, which is miles and miles away from Walton, Kentucky. So we're going to continue to stay out here and keep you updated on that situation.
All right, Rachel Whalen at UC Medical Center, anchor Chris Jacobs, we're going to bring in here right now on the set. Chris has been on the phones making phone calls to some of his sources. And again, Chris, I was telling the viewers that I've confirmed through a couple of my sources that 2 officers have been shot. You're now hearing from sources the same thing, and you have some information on their condition, perhaps.
Yeah, some of the finer points of what we're learning about tonight. So we've learned that 2 deputies were shot. They were serving a warrant at the time that the shots started. One of them was taken to UC. We saw the helicopter flying into UC Medical Center. That deputy who was taken to UC, rounds to the chest, in stable condition. The other deputy was shot in the leg. I was told that that deputy has some tourniquets. Both of them are in stable condition right now, but 2 deputies shot, 1 shot in the chest, 1 shot in the leg. Both are stable. I asked the source if anyone was in custody at this moment. They said they're not quite sure if anyone has been arrested just yet.
So obviously shot in the chest, Ashley, that is not a good situation, but the great news is we're hearing stable. So let's hope that that officer with the bullets to the chest can hang in there.
And even in the leg, depending on where it is,
exactly.
You know, it's a scary situation, and these are always scary situations for officers to serve these warrants at homes and things. We've seen this play out far too many times than we would like to recount back in the past. So glad to hear that update, Chris, and we will work on confirming more for you here. Thanks so much, Chris Jacobs.
Anything new, just let us know and we'll bring you on so you can share it with the viewers. Folks at home, here it is nearly 11:30. This has been going on in northern Kentucky probably for about an hour and 20 minutes or so. We were in the newsroom and we started hearing scanner traffic that 2 officers were down, and then I started making some phone calls and talking to police sources who told me that 2 officers had been shot. You just heard from Chris Jacobs saying he's got sources telling him in law enforcement that they were serving some sort of warrant at the Town Creek crossing right behind the Kroger there in Walton, Kentucky, and then shots rang out from inside of that home that they were trying to get into. Again, 1 officer shot in the chest with a few rounds, a couple of bullets to the chest, flown over to UC Medical Center. The other one shot in the leg. We heard potentially both legs. Tourniquets were used, and right now both are stable.
And we are working both scenes with our team of reporters there. Rachel Whalen is at the hospital. Sean McKinnon is there on the scene. Sean, has anything new unfolded where you are right now?
Yeah, Ashley, sorry about that. Excuse me. I was just talking with both police and people here at the scene. I was able to just talk with some officers here. I was asking them about if there's a shelter in place in this area. We had heard that some people were getting that shelter in place notification. The officer was not able to confirm that at this time, if that shelter in place was active, but what he was able to tell me was that officers and the SWAT team that have set up a perimeter closer to the scene, they did, in that apartment complex, they did evacuate people at that apartment complex. So a serious situation still here tonight, and knowing that people were evacuated from that apartment complex, as that officer just confirmed to me, it shows you the gravity of this situation. It wasn't done, you know, it was an ongoing situation. It was serious enough that people needed to leave their homes at 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night and be moved away for their own safety and the officer's safety. For a while now, it's still been calm here. We have not seen as much movement. We have still seen some officers running around with rifles, but at this very moment, you can see a couple dozen officers still conversing in that main area. We haven't seen much movement. We have not had law enforcement come up to us yet tonight, but we are, as soon as law enforcement does come up to them, we are going to ask about that officer's condition. what unfolded here tonight. Chris Jacobs was just talking about that 2 deputies were shot and that they were serving a warrant at the time. We'll ask them about that as well. But for now, there hasn't been much movement currently. But again, that officer did confirm they evacuated people at that perimeter of that apartment complex and people in that apartment complex. Mike, Ashley?
Hey, Sean, if I could, let's break you loose here just for a couple minutes and we'll just watch your pictures if your photographer can stay in place. I think it's important that you try to go over, see if there's a PIO roaming around that we can confirm some information with. A longtime Cincinnati police officer, now retired, is messaging me. He's watching our coverage and he's saying that when we were zooming in behind this black SUV, there was a table set up and there were a whole group of officers that we witnessed, maybe about 20 or 30 officers from different agencies and departments. He said obviously that was a briefing going on and they were just, discussing strategy moving forward tonight. So we don't know if people are holed up inside a place. Suspects have been arrested yet. People are on the loose. We don't know anything about who did this and why. We do know from Chris Jacobs, who confirmed that a warrant was being served over there at the Town Creek crossing behind Kroger in Walton, Kentucky, when it all happened.
And we're going to get over to Rachel Whalen, who is live there at UC Medical Center, where at least one of these officers was flown to. Rachel, what have you learned?
Well, first off,
Hey guys, yeah, I just learned from Cincinnati police that the Chief Thigi, will be here in a couple of minutes, probably, and in the next half hour she'll give us an update on the situation. I believe the Boone County Sheriff will be here as well, so we are expecting them to be here soon and to give us some kind of update. But for now, just take a look at the police presence here, and obviously this is just at the hospital, miles away from the scene in Walton, Kentucky. It was even crazier when we arrived here around 10:40. We saw Cincinnati police officers speeding to get here, as well as a helicopter landing at the top of this building around 10:40. That is about 20 minutes after we heard the initial call for help down there in Walton, and we heard over police scanners that someone from that scene was being flown here to the hospital via air care. So we did see that. We also saw Walton ambulance pull up here and take someone out of a hospital gurney. We were not able to make out, their condition or anything like that. No word on the condition to us for now, at least at the hospital, but we will continue to keep you updated, and we're going to stick around for Chief Thigi to show up soon and hopefully give us some more information on the situation.
All right, Rachel Whalen, live UC Medical Center. Chris Jacobs manning the phones. He was on the air with us a short time ago talking with us. He just told us he's getting word that in about 10 or 15 minutes over there, right near the Kroger in Walton, Kentucky, that police will get together and hold a little news conference of some sort to give us an update. It's 11:33 now. We're going to stay on the air, obviously, till we get to that time and we can get an update on exactly what happened. But we're kind of piecing it together right now. And again, if you're just joining us, there's a giant police presence over there right near the Kroger in Walton, Kentucky, the Town Creek crossing. A lot of people are sheltered in place inside the store, inside the nearby McDonald's, inside some of the other bars and businesses, as well as the Town Creek crossing complex. While police are doing their work, there are just literally dozens and dozens of officers over there right now, where we believe about an hour and a half ago, shots were fired at that complex behind the Kroger. We have now confirmed that 2 deputies have been shot, one in the legs, at least one leg, perhaps 2, one in the chest. The one in the chest appears to be shot multiple times, taken to UC Medical Center by helicopter. That's where Rachel Whalen is. Chief Thigi is going to show up there in a short time for Cincinnati Police to show her support. We don't know the extent of the injuries, just that they are in stable condition. So we don't know how severe, but obviously shot in the chest is a pretty serious injury, yes.
Yeah, and that is the good news of all of this tonight, Mike. And we do know from our Sean McKinnon, who's there on the scene, that the people in that complex there where this all unfolded at the Town Creek crossing, they have been evacuated. But everyone else around that area, there's a Kroger there and McDonald's, Sean was saying, and many other businesses and things around that area have been asked to shelter in place. So if you know someone that may live over that way, definitely want to get that information to them, as this scene is still very active right now. And we said earlier today those officers were serving a warrant to someone there at that apartment complex, and that's when this all unfolded at about 10:40 tonight. And right now, a massive scene. We are waiting to get official word from officers on both scenes. Chief Thigi here in Cincinnati at UC Medical Center, as this is an extensive situation where the officers are now getting care over here in Cincinnati. And of course, with the Brotherhood of Policing being strong, Chief Thigi is on alert there. And then there in Walton, Kentucky, they will also hold a press conference to update us on what happened and what is unfolding as we're watching right now.
So we believe in maybe the next 10 minutes we're going to get word from that Kroger right there in Walton, where police are going to come out and give us an update. I'm also getting word from some sources that the Walton High School, which is nearby, is where reunification is. And what that means is anybody who's been separated over there in that complex or from their loved ones, if you happen to be in one part of the area and your loved one or friend was in the other part of the area and you got separated, get word to those people on their cell phones right now and let them know that Walton High School is where everybody is going to meet back up there so they can safely get back and on their way tonight.
Yeah, and we will get official word about what's happening. But, you know, I just think about scenes like this that we have seen in the past and how they've unfolded, and these deputies serving warrants here at night, and you just see we saw the video earlier that we cannot release to you. We've seen it from people that live in that area. Just everything that unfolded, the deputies scattered after trying to knock on the door and serve that warrant there. And we will get much more information about what that was pertaining to and possibly who this suspect or suspects is that was behind that door.
And just seeing online, Cincinnati Fraternal Order of Police posting prayers for Boone County tonight and all the people impacted, all of our brothers and sisters over there. But you talk about the brotherhood and the sisterhood, and you see them out in full force tonight. Not only the ones doing their jobs, but the other ones just showing up in support, not only here in the Walton area, but also on the other side of the river here in Cincinnati at UC Medical Center, where at least one of those deputies who was shot tonight was flown with bullets to the chest. Again, if you're just joining us, a couple deputies were shot over there in the Town Creek crossing behind the Kroger in Walton. And you're looking live right now at pictures, and we're trying to be respectful, even though it's a huge police presence on this camera shot that you're looking at. This is far, far away from where the shooting happened. So we're not, prying into police business here. All of the police business is going on well behind that circle that they formed and that police tape that they put across so people like us can do our jobs, but on the other side where it's safe and out of their way while they're trying to do their jobs tonight. But it really speaks, and Ashley, we're talking about the video that we got to see tonight of the 10 or 12 officers trying to serve that warrant and then the shots being fired and them scattering. It really speaks to the dangers of police work. And yeah, anytime you pull somebody over on the side of the highway, anytime you're serving a warrant, you don't know if it's going to be a calm situation. You don't know if it's going to be a situation like this tonight. Obviously, they went in with a group of people. They were ready for something to go down, but you just never know. When you leave home, you kiss your wife, you kiss your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your kids goodbye for the day. You say goodbye for the day. You just never know what you're going to get into between that time and hopefully the time that you get home later after your shift.
Yeah, Mike, and this is all unfolding still right now. We just saw that officer run to his car, but the general sense that we're getting right now from this scene, opposed to what we saw earlier, is a little bit of calmness. And I don't know if that speaks to kind of where they are in getting this wrapped up tonight, but also we have seen scenes like this where the officers were not okay and it did not have the same outcome. And you see the faces on the officers around tonight. I do notice they seem to have a little bit more of a calmness right now. We did get word that those officers are stable, so that is good news. And you're seeing, as the officers we saw earlier that are still on this scene, it seems to be a little bit more relaxed than what we have seen in the past, which is good.
We're going to get back over to UC Medical Center and our Rachel Whalen, and she beat everybody over there tonight, got over there so she could get in place and get information. You got there before the helicopter got there. When you got there, Rachel, you were by yourself, and now slowly but surely you're being joined by the men and women in blue. Kind of describe what you've seen in the last hour since that chopper landed, the medical helicopter landed at about 10:40.
Yeah, I would say that a steady stream of officers are arriving now and have been arriving since we got here. When we first got here, there was definitely a major sense of urgency. We saw CPD rushing to get here with the sirens on, fire trucks as well. Now we've just kind of seen them trickling in with a little bit less sense of urgency since that helicopter landed around 10:40. If you take a look, the night chief and a lieutenant were standing out here just a little bit ago by the emergency sign. They also seemed pretty calm and told me that Chief Fiji should be here in the next few minutes, and we're expected to get an update from her and the Boone County Sheriff in the next half hour, so probably around midnight. But yeah, if you can see through the glass there, you know, there's a lot of people in there, including a lot of people in uniform. We have seen Boone County Sheriff cars pull up, Cincinnati Police pull up, Walton Police, Fort Thomas Police, Falmouth Police. We also saw the Walton ambulance truck come by, and a gentleman here showed me video of what he saw, and we saw a person being wheeled out in a gurney. Now, we don't know what their condition was. We couldn't make out, you know, if they were moving at all, but we did see them wheel someone out of a Walton ambulance, as well as the air care that we obviously saw around 10:40. So yeah, I would say when I first showed up, lots of urgency, lots of rushing around. Now things are seemingly calm, but still a very big presence and lots of officers from all over Kentucky and even here in Cincinnati.
Rachel, you know, obviously these officers were in the wrong place at the wrong time, but in many ways they ended up in the right place at the right time. We're getting word from some people in the know, I am anyway, several messages. There is actually a UC helipad right behind the Kroger in Walton, is what I'm hearing, and they're saying that an air care helicopter is always stationed there. So they're watching our coverage, and they wanted us to know that that's how quickly they could get that deputy who was shot in the chest into that helicopter and flown over to UC Medical Center. Rachel, if you see anything, if Chief Fiji's there and she can share anything, or you get any information, obviously just wave us down and we'll get you back in there. Rachel Whalen over at UC Medical Center right now. Again, we're awaiting word over there in Walton, Kentucky from law enforcement. Boone County, by the way, covers that Walton area, Boone County Sheriff's Department. We don't know for sure if the two deputies were from their department, but Boone County, just so you know, obviously is the
those cops.
The Sheriff's Department that covers Walton, Kentucky, and we're getting information that within the next 5 or 10 minutes, somebody will step out and talk with the cameras and kind of give us an update as to what's going on.
And as we said, that the people in the complex there were evacuated. The surrounding areas and businesses were asked to shelter in place, and that Kroger there in Walton, where the scene you see right now, the parking lot of that Kroger had closed at about 11 o'clock. So you wonder if those workers were able to leave, or if they're still there in that scene as it's unfolding right now. As we heard from Sean McKinnon that people were asked to shelter in place, and just how disruptive this has been, I mean, to say the least, to this area and this neighborhood.
So I know if you're just turning on the television and maybe you wanted to watch the Tonight Show, it's about 11:45 here. You're watching WLWT News 5, extended coverage, breaking news right now. It's Mike Dardis and Ashley Kirkland, along with Chris Jacobs, as well as we've got Sean McKinnon out there in Walton, Kentucky, and Rachel Whalen over at UC Medical Center. And again, if you are just joining us, you see this big commotion and all the flashing lights and the police tape, and departments from all over northern Kentucky and Cincinnati are rushing over to show their support and help as well. Just after 10 o'clock tonight, we started hearing on the scanners that officers were down. 2 officers were down. We had not confirmed it yet. We started making phone calls. I was able early on to confirm that 2 officers had in fact been shot. Chris Jacobs has since confirmed that they were serving some sort of search warrant over there at the Town Creek crossing behind the Kroger in Walton. Some viewers have been sending video in from the complex of the actual incident. I got to watch that video that we can't show you yet because we don't have the right to show it until we actually get permission from the person who shot it. But I watched the incident go down. 10 or 12 officers standing around a door trying to knock it down. The people they were serving the search warrant to were obviously not opening that door.
I'll wait for the press conference because there's a lot of new people in the chat. Let me see if I can get it. Walton, Kentucky. Let's see. Here it is. Rawlers posted this. This was a crazy video. And I guess they were there serving a warrant, I guess. Somebody had said DV earlier, but I guess the news is saying a warrant. So check out. They're trying to bust the door down.
There's the gun. Yep. Oh my God. Yep.
The person starts shooting.
Go in the house. Go in the fucking house.
Get inside.
I'm right here.
It's cracked just a little bit.
So that was a crazy situation there.
There's the gun. Yep. Oh my God. Yep. Go in the house. Go in the fucking house.
You gotta give me I gotta have a grenade if I'm a cop, because I'm chucking a grenade in that bitch.
Injuries and the extent of the injuries, and also what this warrant was.
They're saying the officers that were shot are stable, but yeah, pretty crazy situation. So I don't know if this guy, they said he was, last I heard he was barricaded, but I don't know if they got him or is he still in there? What's going on?
This conference maybe the next 10 to 15 minutes. Are you hearing any more on that or no? Nothing new? Okay. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to find out because Chris had been saying that he was hearing from sources that they were going to have a news conference. Sean's been running around, Sean McKinnon out there in Walton. I know you've been trying to get something confirmed. Have you talked with anybody in the last 10 or 15 minutes, Sean?
Mike, I have ran all over this scene. I've gone over to the AAA that they originally said was the media staging area. There hasn't been any police over there earlier tonight. I've talked to every single officer I could on scene tonight. The very first officers I talked to tonight, I was asking, are 2 officers shot? Are 2 officers in the hospital okay? Neither were able to confirm that for me at that time. Then I was able to go over to another officer. I was asking him earlier. Okay, all right, Mike, we might have a press conference starting right here.
Press conference, cool, okay. Let's see what's going on.
Yes, that's happening now. All right, guys, I'll give you a quick update about what's going on down here. Just after 10, our deputies responded. They were getting ready to serve an arrest warrant on a subject at 13167 Service Road. When they entered the home, they took fire. As a result of that, 2 of our deputies were struck. They were evacuated. There was heavy gunfire. They were evacuated, transported, 1 by ground, 1 by air, both to UC. They're currently in stable condition. 1 is in surgery. Their families have been notified, and as you can see behind me, we have a very active response and, of course, a very active scene with our SWAT team currently executing their operation.
Is the suspect in custody?
No, the suspect is currently barricaded as it stands right now, and we are working through some processes to eventually make contact with him and eventually take him into custody.
Is it one suspect?
Just 1 suspect.
Does he have a gun?
Yes.
And he shot at officers earlier tonight?
Yes.
How many times did he shoot at officers?
I don't know how many rounds, but it was multiple rounds. It was heavy gunfire.
Have you attempted to enter the apartment yet?
No, not right now. Our SWAT team, like I said, there is a process by which they follow, and currently they're going through that. And so what we're trying to do is just work through that safely. All of the residents, I think it should be important to note that all of the residents in and around this, we'll call it an apartment or a condo, have been evacuated as well. So we stabilized that aspect to ensure that when we execute our operation, that it's done with no other civilians around.
How many people were evacuated? Any idea how many?
Resident-wise? No, I don't have that number right now.
And any communication with the person that is barricaded inside?
Yeah, we as a part of what we're doing, we have our negotiators down here. Of course, if that's unsuccessful, then our SWAT team takes takes different approaches before we physically were to make entry.
Those officers were part of the Boone County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, they are our deputies, both males, and again, like I said, what we would consider, seasoned vets to law enforcement.
What was the warrant for?
The warrant was a felony warrant for flagrant non-support. So it was a child support warrant with a $14,000 bond on it that they were attempting to execute this evening.
10 o'clock tonight, around the time.
Right around that time, give or take. That's when the mass notification went out, and that mass notification to the command staff went out just basically right after the incident occurred.
You said they're in stable condition.
Mm-hmm.
One's currently in surgery.
Correct.
Do you have any idea where they were shot on their body?
I don't want to get into that right now, but they were shot multiple times.
Both officers?
Yes. Sustained multiple gunshot wounds. Yes.
One of your own, two of your own are in the hospital. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, we're upset about it. This is something that they themselves and their families, this is the worst nightmare type of situation. And so, we're going to do everything we can to do this the right way, to not undermine what they went through tonight, but absolutely we want to ensure that their safety and their healing up at the hospital, and their privacy, of course, is respected. Their family's privacy is respected, because this is the call that no spouse, no mother, no father ever wants to experience.
The man inside still has a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Is this still an unsafe situation for officers?
Yeah, I mean, this is still extremely volatile. When you take into consideration that he fired multiple times on multiple officers, with two of them being hit, until we can secure, our SWAT team can give us the all clear that this scene is safe, we're going to treat this as a very high risk type of scenario.
You mentioned doing this right. Could you speak to some of the technology being deployed to negotiate to deal with this suspect?
Yeah, we utilize drones where we can. That's something that we've done, of course, in the past. It's pretty well documented. We've talked about those a lot. There's other forms of technology that we utilize to try to communicate with the suspect inside. Sometimes we're successful in that. Sometimes we're not. That's really dependent on him. And, this whole thing, I think it's important to realize the outcome of this is strictly dependent upon him, and in this case, we want to ensure that he understands, which I'm sure he does at this point, what his actions were. I'm sure he knows that he shot two deputies, and then the outcome of no one else being hurt is strictly dependent upon him.
We're hearing rumors about his background. Is there anything that you know about his background that you can share?
Nothing right now. Nothing that I can confirm right now.
Cincinnati Police Chief is at the hospital right now. Do you know why she's there at all?
Well, we have a good relationship with the Cincinnati Police Department. Our deputies are in now their jurisdiction, and it's really just in a support capacity to ensure that everything that we may need on that side of the river is taken care of within their jurisdiction.
Is the man inside talking with negotiators right now?
Not that I know of right now.
Were the officers in bulletproof vests or anything?
Yes, they were fully outfitted in their standard uniform, whether it's an outer vest or a vest that's underneath their uniform, depending on what uniform they were wearing. But nonetheless, they had their ballistic vest. As you would imagine any police officer, that's how they looked.
When they tried to serve the warrant, did he fired first?
Yeah.
And did he fire through the door, or was the door open?
No, our deputies made entry into the house, and that's when they took fire.
This was around 10.
Yeah, again, I don't have the exact time, but right around 10 or just before 10.
Lieutenant, how are you doing?
Yeah, we're good. We want to make sure, again, we care about our guys, and notwithstanding the command staff and all of these other agencies that came in a support capacity, we got guys who took gunfire tonight. We got guys who were shot tonight, and so we.
All out war now.
I would be lying if I said we weren't upset about that. Of course we're upset about that. This is not what anybody anticipated, right? And so we're just doing, again, we're going to do right by this situation, do right by them, and make sure that we take care of this in a safe and professional manner.
Were the officers that were hit able to return fire at all?
We don't believe that there was any fire returned. As soon as they were hit, all of those who were there immediately went to try to get them out of the scene.
For the neighbors and the surrounding people that lived there after they were evacuated, are they being held for the night somewhere, or are they expected to return to their homes at some point?
I don't have a definitive answer on that. Of course, if this thing went long, we would work with our community partners and find accommodations for them. However, at this point, I can't really say one way or the other on that. Anybody else?
Thank you very much for the
Yep.
update. We
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, that's
All
the
right.
update.
So you've been watching, Sean, real quick, why don't you finish your thought there and then we'll pick it up. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, Mike and Ashley, it was a long press conference. We learned a lot just there. There's still a suspect inside of his apartment. He does currently have a gun on him. This is still a dangerous situation for officers. We learned and we confirmed that 2 sheriff's deputies were shot tonight as they were attempting to execute a warrant that was for delinquency on child care payments. The sheriff's office said those officers attempted to execute that warrant, breach the apartment, and when that happened, when they got in the door, the now suspect opened fire on officers, hitting 2 deputies. One deputy, they're in stable condition. One deputy is currently in surgery. Both are at the hospital right now. Mike and Ashley, you were listening along to that press conference. We learned a lot of information there. I'll send it back to you guys for now.
All right, Sean, thank you. I guess the most important elements here are, first of all, that the officers are alive, shot in the leg, shot in the chest. The one in the chest was flown to UC Medical Center. Don't know the extent, but in surgery. It seems very serious, obviously, in surgery, but stable. And that's the awesome news to hear as it relates. You saw the nervousness in his voice as he was giving that news conference, as he was talking about these people who he works with. This is the Boone County Sheriff's Department. We're talking about 2 of their deputies were shot. The other important thing to note is this is still a very active scene. There's only one suspect, not a group, but one person holed up inside one of those apartment buildings or the condo complex building there, the Town Creek Crossing. They've got officers surrounding, SWAT surrounding. They appear to be trying to talk with this person. And he said earlier that when the officers came to serve that search warrant, that they were fired upon several times. They did not even return fire. They just got out of there in a hurry. But those officers, as you're now looking over it at some of the tactical gear being put on, and there's a staging area where they're having a briefing right now. This was earlier where we saw the officers having a briefing and then walking together in tandem as they walk back over to the scene, which is off to the right of our camera point that you're looking at right there. So that was video from earlier as they were walking back over to the place where it all happened.
That was Philip Ridgel, who we heard from with the Boone County Sheriff's Office, and he said the officers were fired upon with multiple rounds of heavy gunfire. Thankfully, they were wearing bulletproof vests, but 2 of those officers still injured and struck there. As we heard, one is in surgery, the other one is stable, and one was taken to the hospital by ground, the other by air. And we have a team of reporters there on the scene and also at UC Medical Center. And in support, Chief Thigi of Cincinnati Police Department will be there at UC Medical Center with the Butler County Sheriff's Chief. The sheriff there to talk about what's happening. Our Rachel Whalen is on the scene, and she's working to get information about when we will hear from Chief Thigi or the sheriff of Boone County there, as this situation is still unfolding into the late hours of the night, almost midnight here. We started this report at 11 o'clock here on 11 o'clock news, and we started getting these reports at about 10:40 of this officer shooting these 2 officers that were shot there in Walton, Kentucky, in a tragic scene, serving a warrant on child support.
And I think, having a father years ago who was an officer and many, many friends and relatives who are police officers. You know, when you're going into a dangerous situation and you know that guns are drawn, then you expect that sort of thing. But really the sad part about something like this is a child custody situation. Mm-hmm. This is a guy who they're saying, you know, they served a warrant because he hasn't been paying his child support. To be in a situation now where your life is on the line and shots are being fired over this, that's just hard to take. Let's go back to UC Medical Center right now. Rachel Whalen is over there where the police presence is growing. Rachel, what are you hearing?
Hey guys, I want to show you this shot right here of these people entering the hospital right now. It seems like they may have come from the crime scene. They're carrying, boxes and things like that. That might be items from the crime scene. They just arrived here, as well as we're seeing an ambulance come by here as well. There have been multiple police officers from Cincinnati Police, but also Fort Thomas, Walton, Falmouth even, and of course Boone County Sheriff's deputies' vehicles passed by here as well. We actually just got told to stay here. This is now the media staging area. I was up here trying to talk with some officers, and it looks like this is some kind of ambulance. I can't tell from where. But yes, and then so we were told to stay here for the media staging, but I have been told that Chief Thigi should be here, if she's not here already, soon to give us some kind of update. Officer told me, she doesn't want to step on Boone County Sheriff's toes and say anything out of line, so they wanted to talk and figure out what they want to say to media, but we are expecting some kind of update from here soon. We did obviously just hear from Boone County Sheriff's Department.
So all this for child support. Wow, Mamma Mia. I forgot how much they said he owed, was it 12,000, 13,000 or something like that? I guess they went to go serve a warrant for child support, and this guy decided to go out in a hail of bullets, willing to put his life on the line. I'm not paying that child support. I told that bitch, I'm not paying it. In a hail of bullets, willing to kill cops. Wow. And still be in there barricaded now. Holy, 14K.
But we will continue to keep you updated and hopefully get an update from the chief here soon in a little bit.
Rachel, while we have you, a little perspective, months ago you were there not far from this scene where Deputy Larry Henderson was struck by the car, and you saw the reaction there, and you saw officers rush to the hospital, and thankfully a different scene and a different feel right now because we know those officers are stable. What's the feel that you're getting from officers there at the hospital right now, and compared to what you saw months ago?
Yeah, Ashley, it's a great point. When we first got here, it was definitely very urgent. We saw police vehicles rushing to get here with their lights and sirens on, as well as fire trucks even. That was around 10:30. Around 10:40 when the helicopter arrived, that's when things started to slow down. We still saw a lot of officers arrive here from all over the state and from Cincinnati, but definitely seemed to be a lot calmer. Of course, the Deputy Henderson situation happened during UC's graduation, so that was a completely different scene. It wasn't happening late at night like this is. It was very chaotic. You had people walking in for graduation while that was happening, and officers on the scene seemed visibly upset. People very emotional over that one. This seems to be much calmer. You can see these two officers out here in front of the hospital, and that's really kind of the vibe that we've been getting since Air Care arrived here around 10:40 is, still a large presence, still a lot of people here showing their support from all over, but definitely much calmer, I would say.
All right, Rachel Whalen reporting live for us there at UC Medical Center, our trauma center here in the area, which these officers, thank you so much, Rachel, these officers were flown and driven to from all the way in Walton, Kentucky to our #1 trauma center here in Cincinnati.
This developing story is now about 2 hours old, and we're going to take a live picture now over in Walton, Kentucky behind the Walton Kroger. This is the Town Creek crossing behind that huge shopping center, and you see that large police presence. It was a couple of hours ago. A call went out over the radio of officers down. We have since heard from the public information officer in Boone County that, in fact, Boone County Sheriff's Department was serving a search warrant. There was a suspect inside a house who had not been paying his child support payments, so a warrant had gone out. They went to that place to try to take him into custody, or at least serve that search warrant and serve him with the information. And in turn, shots were fired at the deputies. There were about 10 or 12 deputies at the door. The public information officer telling us that they had gotten into the home when shots rang out, and two of their deputies, Boone County deputies, were shot tonight, one in the legs, one taking several bullets to the chest. They were all in full gear. They had their police equipment on. They had their bulletproof vests on as well. The deputy who was shot in the chest was flown over to UC Medical Center, right now in surgery from what we're hearing. The deputy who was shot in the legs, we know that tourniquets were applied. We did not get any more information on the seriousness of his condition, other than both of them are stable, and that's the important thing. As for the suspect, a lone suspect over there in that complex behind Kroger, where a lot of the people living there have been evacuated. They've been moved out of there while police can do their jobs. He is a man who is holed into his place right now. They've got the place surrounded by SWAT teams and by different tactical units there from Boone County. You see a helicopter in the air overhead right now. But again, if you're just joining us, the important thing is these two deputies who were shot, we know that they are alive right now and they are stable, and the suspect at least is contained inside a single place over there behind the Kroger.
And just a moment ago, we heard a live press conference from the Boone County Sheriff's Department PIO, and we are expecting to hear from possibly Chief Thigi of Cincinnati Police Department, just in support of the Boone County Sheriff's Office and officers there in Northern Kentucky. Let's listen into what we heard from that earlier press conference.
Okay, I'll mute that. I wish we had like we could see the front of the place, so the whole thing is happening. It's an apartment complex, and so I would think maybe somebody inside there could stream, but maybe they're just ducking since shots were fired. Quite a bit of shots, they said, were fired. And I'm just kind of browsing to see. I am pretty sleepy, but I'm taking a look to see if anything else pops up, or this other, I guess, press conference that's going to happen.
And eventually take him into custody.
And you heard there that suspect currently still barricaded and armed in that apartment building, that apartment that they were serving the warrant at. So police still very much working this active scene. Multiple agencies there in Northern Kentucky, they're in support working the scene as well. And again, 2 officers have been shot tonight serving a warrant there in Walton, Kentucky.
Apparently we're hearing that there's a helipad for UC Medical Center over there right near the Kroger. That helicopter was in place and ready to go and got the officer, the deputy who was shot in the chest, right over to UC Medical Center. This incident happened just after 10 o'clock, and we know that Rachel Whalen was at UC Medical Center when the chopper arrived, maybe about 30 or 40 minutes later, so they got him over there as quickly as they could. There's the helicopter coming into UC Medical Center about 10:40 or so, carrying one of those Boone County deputies who was shot in the chest. Again, that was quite some time ago, about an hour and 20 minutes ago. That deputy has been in surgery as soon as they could get him in there and begin the surgery. We know that Cincinnati Police Chief Terry Thigi is over there at UC Medical Center. We heard in that news conference in Boone County that Cincinnati police are coming out in a support role, and if there's anything needed,
I think they need to gas it up. Yeah, let's listen to the scanner for a bit. Hold on, let's check out the scanner while we wait. Let's just see if we can get any new information. Or is it quiet? Sounds like it's quiet.
To talk to them and negotiate with them, and the PIO earlier saying that they have not heard from the suspect. Let's bring in Sean.
Squad 21 transporting to Florence 010.
hear or see anything of that because we're so far away from it, but during that press conference he told us they do not currently have a line of communication with him, but they are attempting to get a line of communication with him. He told us earlier tonight they have drones in the air. I just talked with a resident in that greater apartment complex. I talked with a resident in that area on the phone just now. He also said that he's seen a drone in the air. He's hearing loud noises. Can't exactly identify what those are right now, but he believes it's some kind of police activity that's happening. But to go back to your question about potential flashbangs, he was hearing some noises. I was able to listen to a Ring camera video from his apartment. He was able to hear some of that. The reason he's still in his apartment and not evacuated, some people were evacuated in that area, but not everyone in the complex. The buildings, I'm told, aren't exactly attached, and so he lives nearby. He can hear and see some sort of things happening, but he's still in his apartment now, kind of watching this all unfold. Ashley?
Sean, let's go back over some of the key points of what's happened here in the last couple of hours. We'll put it up on your screen right now, folks, so you can kind of follow along with us. So Boone County deputies were serving a search warrant over there near Chestnut Drive behind the Kroger there in Walton, Kentucky. This was, again, about 10 o'clock or so at the Town Creek Crossing Apartments. The suspect immediately opened fire after they got into the place. I've watched video of the deputies who were standing around the door trying to get in, and it appears after maybe one of them got inside, the shots immediately started ringing out and deputies started running off into different directions. We heard in that news conference a short time ago that deputies were not able or did not return fire at all. Deputies quickly got out. They got the injured officers out of there. They asked the neighbors to get out of there as soon as they could. And right now we know that one suspect is still barricaded in an apartment. We don't know if it's his actual place where he lives or just an apartment where he happens to be, but he is alone in that apartment. They believe they were serving a search warrant. This was a child custody case where payments were not being made, custody payments were not being made, and they were serving that search warrant on a $14,000 bond. We're staying on the air right now because there's this developing situation back there in the apartment complex as they are trying to get a line of communication to that suspect. And we're also waiting to hear if Cincinnati's Police Chief Terry Thigi will speak with our Rachel Whalen over there in a support role at UC Medical Center. But if you're just joining us here at 12 minutes after 12, we're now into the early morning hours of Friday. There's a very, very large police presence over there in Walton, Kentucky. We're being respectful. They've got police tape up. Obviously, we would never cross that anyway, but they've got police tape up right now, and they've got a big circle of vehicles, and we are way, way, way behind all of that. Cameras pushed in a little bit so you can see that first vehicle there right behind the police tape. But this incident is happening way back behind where our cameras are right now, and we can't actually see. If you zoom in as far as you can see officers all the way back there, hundreds and hundreds of yards back, and presumably the apartment complex back there as well, where the suspect is holed up right now. They're trying to make communication with him, trying to get him out of there before any more damage is done. We do know, obviously, that this suspect has a gun because shots were fired from inside of the place. 2 Boone County deputies shot, one right now in surgery at UC Medical Center, shot multiple times in the chest. That deputy did have a bulletproof vest on. We don't know exactly where in the chest that officer was shot. The other deputy was shot in the legs. A tourniquet was applied. And again, all of this is coming in as we're watching it along with you at home. And again, it speaks to the dangers of police work, what these people do, whether it be a traffic stop on the side of the road or something like this where you're serving a search warrant, sadly, in a custody dispute, and all of a sudden your life is on the line. In this case, both of those deputies are stable. Yeah. We don't know the exact condition, but we'll work to find that out.
We do know that the people in that apartment complex have been evacuated. We heard earlier that people surrounding were asked to shelter in place. And I want to bring Sean McKinnon back in here because, Sean, you were there on the scene, and I believe near that Kroger, and you mentioned other businesses in the area. Have you seen people, employees or anyone that were able to leave and come out of those businesses? I know that Kroger closed at about 11 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, and I'm actually seeing sheriff's deputies, they just physically pulled open the doors to Kroger right now. So I can't tell what's going on in Kroger right now, but just as you were tossing to me, Ashley, I did see law enforcement physically pull open those automatic doors to Kroger and walk inside. I haven't seen anybody walking in or out of Kroger all night as long as I've been here. But in this area, in this parking lot that we're all set up in, there's gas stations, there's some businesses that way, but it's been late at night this whole time. Everything's presumably been shut down. The only thing that would have been open as this was all unfolding around 10 o'clock would have been that McDonald's. The Kroger, I believe, was set to stay open until 11 o'clock at night, so law enforcement would have addressed that situation earlier before we arrived. So there's been no customers and employees walking around as long as I've been here. Ashley?
Sean, also, I did see people earlier, I don't know if they were just in the area or spectators, people that were there in the parking lot that were not obviously police officers or media. Have you talked to anyone about who were those people and what were they? Are they just in the area or what was happening there?
There's some people who live in the area who have stopped by, seen what's going on, but there's also, I've talked to one man, his son lives in that greater apartment complex. His son does not live in the building where this is all taking place. It's an adjacent one that's not attached. He was just I'm getting those videos into our newsroom right now, actually. He was able to send me some videos that we have permission to use. You can hear one woman, that man's girlfriend, on video saying, oh, they shot his windows out, and it appears that you can see a green dot laser as well. So we're getting those videos into our newsroom right now. We have permission to use those. Also, a Ring camera video that man's son was able to take. You can hear some banging. It doesn't sound like gunshots to me and other people, but it does sound like some sort of police and SWAT activity. So we have those videos into our newsroom right now. Hopefully we can get those on air in the coming moments.
All right, Sean McKinnon live in Walton, Kentucky there as this situation continues to develop. Sean, get back to you shortly. If you missed the news conference a short time ago, Boone County Sheriff's Department holding a news conference confirming that 2 of their deputies had been shot serving a search warrant. One is at UC Medical Center with bullet wounds to the chest in surgery, but stable. Don't know the extent of the injuries, just stable, we were told and able to confirm. Also, they said that in the news conference, and the other one shot in the legs. So why they were there in the first place serving the search warrant, let's go back to the news conference and have that public information officer explain some of that.
The warrant was...
Okay, so I think they're kind of just buying some time. Let me see. I was trying to hang on for a bit to see if the other person comes and talks. I don't know what they're going to say. But it seems like the standoff might be going for a while. Going for a while tonight.
And those folks are in her jurisdiction at this point. So should anything be needed of her, she's ready to go in that area. We know that this man is still barricaded inside his home, and that's on Service Road. The address is 13167 Service Road, as the major told us, and that this person, according to multiple sources, that's the police department, the Boone County Sheriff's Department, that is, and the woman who lives next door and is still within a couple of doors away from this location, that person has not responded, despite the fact that that the SWAT team has deployed gas,
possibly pepper, at least once. It sounds like twice, just based on the sort of telling from the scene and from this woman. We know that other people were evacuated, and you would imagine if they're going to use other methods, that's another reason to get those folks out of harm's way and maybe not have to deal with some of the after effects of those.
What this could mean, I mean, in a negotiation, and of course I'm not privy to every detail of how a SWAT negotiation occurs, but having lived through these for many years sitting behind this desk, can tell you that this could be an extremely long night. You heard Sean say that earlier. Why don't we do this? I believe that we do have that entire news conference, that impromptu news conference that Major Ridgel provided for us a few minutes ago. Scotty, do you have that? Is it ready to go? Because it would be helpful, I think, for people and us too to hear what he had to say in totality. Okay, we don't have that quite full yet. So give us a thumbs up when that's good to go. But you're taking a look out here. This is an incredible response, Adrian. The amount of police officers and different localities, municipalities. You see Florence, they've got those, those armored vehicles there. You've got sheriff's deputies out here. You have agencies from all over northern Kentucky there standing as mutual aid.
Yeah, I mean, the last time, we'll get to this sound in just a second. Just to your point, Tanya, I mean, we have covered a lot of things. You've covered a lot here in this market. Sure. I've been in several other markets where these sort of incidents happen. And the last time I remember a law enforcement sort of presence that was this large was when I was in Florida. And 2 officers were killed. I mean, this is the kind of response you get when you have injured law enforcement officers. It's why, when we heard what was going on, we immediately sent both of our reporters down here because we knew that it was probably a much larger thing. When you've got people all over social media talking about the amount of law enforcement that are driving at 100 miles an hour down 71, 75, trying to it's an unprecedented sort of response. It's not the kind of thing that you see every day.
This is not normal.
This is not normal.
And you felt it wasn't normal. You see that as armored vehicles there. You knew it was normal. You text me, get into work. Yeah. We got a bad situation going on. And so that, here is where we are. And as you see that Kroger Marketplace there, nothing is happening at that Kroger Marketplace that is untoward. It is literally just a staging area for those police officers at this particular moment. And we are talking about dozens of police officers' vehicles.
Check 3009, 345.
In mass in support of what's happening right now, which doesn't seem like a lot, but this is an extremely important process that they're going through right now. They don't want to rush.
Every unit start doing a check of all the residences, just doing a secondary search to make sure everyone's 10-4.
Violent. I mean, assume.
Let this back know which department's been verified.
Judicial process.
Want to just give you an update, and then we want to listen, as you mentioned, to Major Philip Ridgel in that update we got a short time ago. Just want to tell you, we are trying to confirm. We believe we know who the suspect is at this point. We believe we have his identity. We are not going to report that at this moment until we can get some full confirmation. But Sean is reporting in the system that we use to send information back and forth here at WCPO that 2 canine units were leaving the scene, as he mentioned, pretty relaxed, and he says there's no more sound from inside. So that is where the situation stands at this point. I can't tell you what that means. I'm just telling you what Sean is reporting.
There may be a resolution. It may not be a resolution that anyone wanted tonight, but there is a resolution that feels like it's coming sooner than potentially expected.
Quite possibly.
We do have that sound for you, Scott. We do?
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and let you listen in to what's happened.
All right, guys, I'll give you a quick update about what's going on down here. Just
I wanted to hear that again. Let's see what they got over here.
Shooting or officer involved shooting or officers being shot, and just how equipped they are to unfortunately handle these kinds of situations on a regular basis. We know one of those officers is in surgery, the other officer is stable, and you were, Mike, saying that there's a helicopter pad near where this scene unfolded that got that officer quickly to UC Medical Center. So again, in situations like this, you want the best care, and UC Medical Center is certainly a place where they are unfortunately experienced in care like this.
All right, so moments ago, Sean McKinnon was live on the air talking about some video that he was able to get his hands on. We're going to let it play. It's video, we believe, of the incident where you can hear the shots fired. So listen closely. This happened about 2 hours and 20 minutes ago.
Oh, well, it's probably the same thing. Oh, it's different.
So those were some shots. You see the Ring camera, the logo in the upper left-hand part of your screen. So this was obviously a ways away from the actual apartment, but close enough where you could hear some shots being fired. I just want to talk to my producer for a second, Marcel. Was this the actual incident, or is that more recent when they're trying to get the suspect out of there the second time? Was that from the original incident at 10 o'clock, Marcel? Okay. Okay, I'm hearing right now that we're not clear. We just know that the video is ours to show on the air, that a neighbor on the scene recorded that. So we don't know if it was from the original incident where the deputies were shot, or it's something more recent where they were trying to go back in. Because when I'm hearing that, I'm not hearing a barrage of bullets going off at the same time.
It's
from midnight. Okay, good. Somebody just told us that that's shots being fired just a short time ago.
Yeah, and again, that is ring camera video, and people have been evacuated from that area, and you can see why if you want to pull that video up really quickly, just how close by those homes are and where people live. And as police are trying, if we can pull up the ring camera video once again, you see how close those homes are to each other, and you hear as police are trying to get that suspect who is barricaded, they say, and armed inside out. Just a scary situation if you live just next door or across the street. So they did evacuate people in this area from their homes as this was unfolding around 10:40 tonight, so that they can do their job safely and get that person out hopefully soon. And everyone else in the larger radius of that area was told to shelter in place.
The more I listen to that, it sounds like flashbangs.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't know if originally I thought that this viewer was sending the video saying that it sounded like shots were being fired, but it sounds like, since it was so deliberate and it wasn't one after the other after the other after the other. Generally, that would be when you're trying to break up a big crowd. You fire off those little flashbangs and they go inside. Sometimes they filled the area with smoke and force this person to have to come out. So again, this is all us assuming, but that's what it sounded like to me.
And of course, we heard earlier from Philip Major Ridgel there from the Boone County Sheriff's Office, who said that those officers were fired upon multiple times with heavy firearms. So that, of course, was
another neighbor sending video to Sean McKinnon, and we were able to get permission to use it and turn it around. So let's put that up on the screen right now. This is from a little while ago, where you can actually see the windows shot out. Look up there, and that's where the apartment is, where that suspect was holed up, and you can see that the windows are shot out, at least that one on the left-hand side of your screen. You can see this is from a neighbor right across the street after it all happened, took some video, was able to record it and get it to us. And that's down below where you see that kind of, that A frame is where I saw the video of the officers surrounding the door. And again, some of the deputies were able to actually get up inside the apartment, according to the public information officer, before the shots were ringing out just after 10 o'clock, and those two deputies were shot. And then again, a short time ago, we did get video of some activity over there where the suspect is holed up, where it sounded to me like maybe flashbangs were being fired, maybe into the apartment or near the apartment. That's what it sounded like to me. So there is some activity. We are well back from the scene. The police tape is up. Many vehicles between us and where it's all going on, obviously for our safety and also for their privacy, respecting them as they do their work. We don't want to be showing exactly what's going on and be able to tip off a suspect who's inside and flips the television on and is watching exactly what's going on. So that's why we stay back, and while we're doing our jobs here, they're doing their jobs over there. We're just trying to relay the information to you. And again, the most important nugget of information tonight, these two deputies who were shot, one in the chest, one in the leg, are both stable. One of them in surgery, the one who was shot in the chest. We don't know the extent, if at any time it was critical or just serious, but we do know both officers, both deputies from the Boone County Sheriff's Department happen to be in stable condition.
And all of this happening after a search warrant over child support, $14,000 of back owed child support, from that suspect. And it's all happening at the Town Creek Crossing Apartments. Let's listen in from that earlier press conference from Boone County Sheriff's Office.
We want to make sure, again, we care about our guys, and, notwithstanding the command staff and all of these other agencies that came in a support capacity, we got guys who took gunfire tonight. We got guys who were shot tonight. And so I would be lying if I said we weren't upset about that. Of course we're upset about that. This is not what anybody anticipated, right? And so we're just doing, again, we're going to do right by this situation, do right by them, and make sure that we take care of this in a safe and professional manner.
Philip Ridgel there from the Boone County Sheriff's Department, doing a great job representing his department there and getting the information out in a hurry to the masses. Again, there are a lot of people who are wondering what's going on. Maybe you're wondering what's happened to your daughter or your son or your mom or your dad or your grandma who lives over in that Town Creek Crossing apartment complex. Well, they have been evacuated. Most of the people anywhere close to where the shots were fired at 10 o'clock, they have been evacuated. They have been moved out of that complex so police can do their work, and they are out of harm's way in case something more serious were to go down. And again, some people a little farther away from the scene got those messages on their phones, their cell phones, those emergency alerts to shelter in place. But people in the actual complex were told to get out of there so that they wouldn't be in any kind of danger for the rest of the night.
And you heard of a place where they can be reunited with people if they...
The high school, yeah.
Yeah, at the high school, that's the reunification place. If your loved one has been evacuated from that complex, you can be reunited with them there at the high school there in Walton, Kentucky. We have a team of reporters that are on the scene, and we have just learned that our Daisy Kershaw is just joined the mix here. Daisy, you're there on the scene. Or not ready just yet. Okay, so we have Sean McKinnon and Daisy Kershaw will be gearing up here. Also, we have Rachel Whalen, who is at the hospital, and she's been there. She saw the air care get to UC Medical Center. But we are watching this all play out here live as police there in Boone County, Kentucky, and Walton are trying to get that suspect out of that apartment. And he is armed. He has already fired multiple rounds of what they call heavy firearms at officers. 2 officers have been shot. One is in stable condition and one is in surgery right now.
Mitch is our director, and Mitch, I just wanted to communicate directly to you. If you could cue up that video of what I thought were flashbangs, the Ring doorbell video, and I'm going to call for it in a minute, and I want to hear it with the audio if you don't mind. Thank you, Mitch. He's talking in my ear, letting me know it's ready to go. But again, the shooting with the deputies being shot happened about 10 o'clock. And then 2 hours later at midnight, after the deputies were out of there, after all of the people who live in that Town Creek Crossing were evacuated and out of there, about midnight or so comes this situation at that very apartment where the suspect is holed up, surrounded by SWAT teams, surrounded by deputies. And here's what it sounded like on the Ring doorbell camera and the video from across the way. I've been in a lot of those riot situations where they're using those flashbangs, you know, those grenades or the flashbangs where they shoot them into a crowd or they shoot them into an apartment building when somebody's holed up or a house. That's what it sounds like to me. You have about 5 to 7 seconds in between each one, and it's what it sounded like to me when I heard it on that Ring doorbell camera the second time. Again, there's a live picture. We've got 3 reporters out there, as Ashley Kirkland mentioned. Daisy Kershaw has joined the mix. She's going to try to get to a location where she can give us some information and some new insight on that scene in Walton, Kentucky. Sean McKinnon's been running around trying to speak with neighbors who are far, far away, and maybe somebody saw something. He's already been able to talk with a couple of neighbors who have been able to give him some video that we have been showing you on the air. And then Rachel Whalen over in Cincinnati at UC Medical Center, where at least one of those deputies is right now in surgery, the one who was flown over by a medical helicopter about 10:40 or so to UC Medical Center with bullet wounds to the chest. Chief Thigi from the Cincinnati Police Department and some of the officers from CPD are over there right now at the hospital in Cincinnati in a support role, we might add. You heard from people in Boone County that they're very relieved to know that Cincinnati police are over there in a support role. So if they need anything at all, they can immediately pick up the phone, pick up the radio and call and get it done.
And you know, we talk about the support that these officers are giving, even though if this is not their officers in the line of fire, and you just have to think about how triggering this could be. We've seen this happen and play out in multiple departments. What comes to mind for me one of the earlier scenes that I was on similar to this was when Claremont County Deputy Bill Brewer about 6 or 7 years ago, and I believe, Mike, you came in also for the breaking news, and that lasted, it was a similar situation where they were trying to get a suspect out, and that lasted well into the morning hours. So again, this is still playing out, but you know, to the families of law enforcement and also those officers, just how triggering a situation like this could be, but also how officers who maybe have been through a similar situation can be of help to the police department there. You know, a small police department in Walton or the Boone County Sheriff's Office, you know, it could just be very helpful, but also very triggering at the same time.
And they have to handle these situations so carefully. You know, you alluded to one case. You have these cases we've heard of all the time, and we had one here locally about 7 or 8 years ago where shots were fired inside an apartment complex where somebody was holed up, and the deputy ran inside thinking that this man had taken his own life, but instead he was trapped when he went in there, and he was actually shot and killed. So you cannot take anything for granted in a volatile situation like this. They're going to take their time, and that's what they're going to do, and they're going to try first to communicate with this suspect inside and get him out.
All right, let's get to Sean McKinnon, who is live there right now at the scene. Sean, what's the latest where you are?
Ashley, we've seen some SWAT still walking around this area. I was able to just watch a video from a different vantage point shot just a few moments ago. You could still see activity up at that apartment complex, flashlights being trained on that apartment complex where this is all. Yep.
Was it glitching out?
Sorry guys, my connection's kind of breaking up, but we're going to show you what's going on here right now still. You can see Erlanger Police, Covington Police still here.
What'd they do? He hit the shock collar? He got shocked or something? What happened? He said something wrong?
Hasn't changed really all night. Still
the
some.
Chip? They reset the chip in him? What happened?
I don't see any packing up right now, guys. I have seen 1 or 2 Covington police officers leave the scene. I have seen maybe 1 or 2. Okay, you do see some police movement behind the tape that we're seeing right now. I did see 2 big black trucks and an SUV driving. It's hard to say exactly if packing up is what's happening right now, but I have seen police movement, and it has appeared that
Hey, Sean,
some
real quick,
vehicles and some officers.
Sean McKinnon out there, we just want to interrupt you real quick. We're getting reports from several people now around the scene, Sean, that they are in fact undressing, some of them taking their equipment off and unpacking. We have not confirmed anything. I want viewers to know that. We have not officially confirmed anything, but we are now getting a barrage of messages to the station that this thing might be over, and they've neutralized this suspect in some way. Yeah, go ahead. Sean, you hearing me?
Wow.
Mike, that's exactly what right, I am hearing you. Like you said, we have not been able to confirm that with police, but I spoke on the phone with a resident inside. He was able to tell us that a deputy came to his door. The deputy asked him, "Is everyone inside okay?" "Yes." And then he asked, "Is it over?" And he said yes. So, and then he asked the deputy if the man took his own life, and the deputy was not able to confirm or deny that. Yeah. But I reiterated with him, the deputy came to your door, verbatim, what did he say? He told him that it was over. So we have not been able to confirm that with law enforcement. We haven't seen a lot of activity right now of breaking down. There are some vehicles moving, but I did talk with a resident in that apartment complex on the phone, and he said that a deputy came by and said it was over.
Well, that's the red thread through all of the messages here. Again, we have no confirmation on exactly what happened, but the question that Sean was asking, did this person take their own life? And again, we don't know that for sure, but that seems to be the red thread that's running through all of the messages that we're getting here to the station. But we want to confirm that it's officially over. But again, you're seeing with your own eyes that they are unpacking over there at that Town Creek crossing, the apartment complex over there several hundred yards from behind where our cameras are. They're unpacking, some of them taking their uniforms off, their gear off, and they appear to be slowly getting out of there. And now, in fact, Sean just mentioned that you hear from a resident, somebody who's living over there, who was told this situation is over. So this is all good news if it in fact is confirmed, but it sounds like that's the direction we're heading with this story. And if that's the case, as you see vehicles starting to leave the scene one by one, that would be a good story. The other part of the story that would be amazing, obviously, is if both of these deputies end up recovering quickly and they're going to be okay. Again, if you're just joining us, 12:40, 2 hours and 40 minutes ago, deputies for Boone County serving a search warrant at an apartment complex behind the Walton Kroger. Did not go as expected. Big surprise there as they got into the place finally. Shots were fired. They did not return fire, is what we heard from Boone County Sheriff's Department. 2 of their deputies were shot, one in the legs, one in the chest. The one in the chest is at UC right now at the medical center and in surgery. Rachel Whalen's been giving us updates on all of the Cincinnati police officers and people from different Northern Kentucky departments showing up and showing their support over at UC Medical Center. And again, I had mentioned this on the air earlier, and one of the viewers was saying, well, why are you saying there's no sense of urgency? A lot of times you can tell from a scene, obviously, if people are running around and they're grabbing things and running, that it's a dire situation. But when things slow down a bit, either the person's trapped and holed up, or they've already gotten to that suspect, and that is, in fact, exactly what was going on.
All right, and we do have a team of reporters, and our Daisy Kershaw is now queued up. Daisy, where are you, and what have you learned?
Ashley, Mike, right now I am right near where they've been in all of the action near the suspect's home. So you'll see these houses, apartment units behind me. This is where they've been. So there's a line of police, and actually just moments ago we watched as a Florence SWAT truck and another SWAT truck drove off. So, you know, I was hearing you talk a little bit ago about seeing others get their gear off, start to pack up. So we did again see those heavy SWAT trucks head out here. But right now, seeing a line of Florence cars, police cars parked up, still stationed. Some officers coming back and forth now. Haven't been able to talk just yet with their department, but we will be reaching out to them here shortly. Lots of departments here assisting tonight, but it looks quiet over in the neighborhood. We know that residents were evacuated, so there is the reunification point that they have announced at that nearby high school. But when we're looking in the windows here, off in the distance, one window light on, but otherwise it's lights off for all of those residential units there where this has been unfolding. So you can imagine, very scary for those neighbors tonight. We've all been in contact with people who have been impacted by this, around this. Prayers, of course, going out to officers as people are waiting with bated breath to hear what ultimately happens. But I think I'll send it back to you here soon. I'm going to try and speak with some officers with Florence.
Daisy, I was just going to say, if you could, you don't even have to get them on camera, obviously, but as you see some of these guys walking out of there with the guns drawn, but walking out slowly, if you can yell to one of them or ask any of them, once we know that this situation is over and people can eventually go back to their places, that's the key. That's why we're staying on tonight. So if you or Sean or anybody out there, just Sean's already got it from somebody who lives there, but from police officials, from anybody out there, see if you can get that confirmed by anybody who's wearing a uniform out there. And once we know that things are under control and it's over, then people can know that they're safe and they can get back to their places eventually.
Mike, absolutely. Just saw one of those officers walk by. We're going to be approaching them here in a minute to bring you the latest. So we'll be communicating and bringing you those updates.
All right, Daisy Kershaw live for us at a different vantage point there in Walton, Kentucky. Let's get back over to Sean McKinnon. And Sean, you're at where that main kind of setup area was there, and we know things are kind of unraveling in a good way as we're hearing that things may be coming to an end. Are you seeing officers leave the scene, or what are you seeing right now?
Ashley, the presence has calmed down, certainly. We've been here for almost 2 hours now, and you can see the tenor, the demeanor of officers changing. You can see Boone County Sheriff's deputy taking off a rifle, putting it into the back of that van right now. It looks like, breaking that weapon down. You can see more law enforcement driving away from the scene. I just saw blue lights drive from the left of your screen to the right of your scene. Again here, another white vehicle on your left. That could be moving as well. More officers right here. An officer here taking off their bulletproof vest, walking back to their car. a dramatic reduction in the amount of law enforcement vehicles that are here, especially up on that hill approaching the apartment complex. There was a sea of red and blue earlier tonight. That has dramatically reduced. So yes, we have seen vehicles slowly peeling away, slowly trickling away. I asked a Covington police officer a few moments ago, is it over? He wasn't able to say that, but as we've been reporting to you on air, we've been talking with people in and around that apartment complex, and they say sheriff's deputies have come to their door, asked them if they're okay inside, and deputies have told them that it's over, the situation is clear. So you can see here deputies taking off their bulletproof vests, taking their rifles off, walking back to their cars, and certainly the environment here has changed over the last 30 minutes, over the last 20 minutes. So if law enforcement are able to come over to the police table, we'll continue to check in with them and see, is it officially over per their word, and how has this situation ended? We're going to work to confirm that with them as well. For now, reporting live, Sean McKinnon, WLWT News 5.
Sean, thanks so much. I always have to be careful with these kinds of things when you get them, but this is a message from somebody claiming to be a relative of the suspect, so I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that. But this person is saying that they believe that it might have actually been over, according to this person who knows, might have been over, in saying that he was in communication with the suspect and might have been over as early as 10 o'clock or 10:15 right after it happened, which, if that's true, might explain why officers were not able to get into contact at all with this suspect who was holed up inside the Town Creek crossing. They had heard no noise in there. They couldn't get a phone line. Nobody was picking up. Nobody was answering. And when they would go to the door and yell, there was nobody communicating back. That doesn't mean that this is correct, but it just, a lot of things are now lining up, not only from people who live in that complex, a couple of the officers out there unpacking and taking their equipment off, and again, driving vehicles out away from the scene. There's another vehicle you see out there right in the middle of your screen backing out. We already have seen 2 SWAT trucks drive away from the scene. Presumably you would not have people leaving a scene if it was still active. So we're hoping and we're praying that this situation is over there in Walton, Kentucky. Again, this is going on in an apartment complex, Town Creek Crossing out there behind the Walton Kroger. This has been going on for about 2 hours and 45 minutes. And the main concern now is this thing really over? Is that suspect either in custody or neutralized in another way, whether by officers or by himself? And the other situation, of course, the safety, the health of the 2 deputies who were shot. And this is going to be a huge story tomorrow here on WLWT News 5. News 5 today in the morning starts just, less than 4 hours from now, and you can bet that they'll have the latest information on all of that.
No doubt, Mike, this was a scary situation for officers tonight, and just a little bit of relief as those officers are now, you see, packing up here on scene, and also the 2 officers that have been treated at the hospital. We heard a couple of hours ago that one of those officers was in surgery. We're awaiting to hear his condition, and that officer that was shot in one leg or 2 legs possibly was stabilized. And so we know that is something, the good news of this situation, that those officers are stable tonight.
So here at 12:47, even though we believe this scene is clearing and we believe the situation is over, we need to stay on the air until we get confirmation from police, and we're hearing that could be any time. WLWT News 5's Daisy Kershaw has been trying to talk with officers out there. Did you get anything at all here, Daisy, in the last few minutes?
Mike, no confirmation from anyone just yet, but we did see more officers exit here, more people de-gearing as well, and they've also let us get a little bit closer, whereas this whole area was previously kind of blocked off to us, of course, for safety, as this was an ongoing situation. So it's not clear, again, nothing confirmed in terms of the suspect just yet or how this has been resolved, but we can see some Boone County Sheriff's deputies, vehicles over here, as well as Florence Police. So we're going to continue to kind of keep an eye on the neighborhood. And also, for these residents who are right now waiting at the reunification zone to know when it will be safe for them to come home. That's another thing that we're working to learn from officers here. So we do want to bring, of course, all of the folks who are out there an update on this. But so far, nothing confirmed from officers on scene, just seeing more and more of them come out of the neighborhood.
All right, Daisy Kershaw, this is starting to line up. They're allowing Daisy to get closer to where those windows are shot out and where the incident took place a little under 3 hours ago. Daisy Kershaw live out there in Walton, Kentucky right now. It's all starting to line up that we believe this thing is wrapping up, that this suspect is either neutralized, whether it be his own doing or SWAT teams and police, or he was taken into custody. But one of those three things appears to have happened, because a lot of those vehicles are driving away and a lot of them are de-gearing and packing up. But we just want to make sure that we stay on the air until we get that information to you confirmed by police. But again, ongoing now for 3 hours.
And which hopefully that means for people that live nearby that they can get back into their homes, as of course they've been evacuated for safety reasons, as police were working this scene and trying to get a line of communication to this suspect. Again, if you're here and you're with us tonight, about 11 o'clock we started the newscast with this breaking news that 2 officers were struck by gunfire after serving a warrant there in Walton, Kentucky at Town Creek Crossing Apartments. One suspect shot multiple rounds at officers, and 2 of those officers were hit. One officer was hit.
They're saying here.
We're hearing
we've got a lot of information.
We just don't have it confirmed.
Yep, and we are just doing our due diligence.
And so we're trying our best to not report rumor and innuendo.
We're trying to tell you what is happening, what we sort of understand the situation to be, but we don't want to give you false information either. The main important part about this situation that started just after 10 o'clock tonight, so now almost 3 hours ago, is that 2 Boone County deputies in the line of duty, doing their job, serving a felony warrant there in Walton, to a man who apparently owed $14,000 or more in child custody. It was a felony warrant. They announced that they were sheriff's deputies. You can hear it on the video.
Is wrapping up
shine
tonight.
A light on the door of this home, and you immediately see them run for cover, and as you hear 7 shots being fired at them, and we know that both of the deputies who were then taken to the hospital were hit several times.
And so, Scott, if you can roll that video.
We've seen that a bunch of times.
Around and talking to one another, again, trying to get official confirmation for you folks. Obviously, while it is inconvenient that people are out of their apartments for several hours and they have to work in the morning or go to school, I think inconvenience is something that you're going to have to deal with when you have 2 officers shot and a suspect taken down or in custody, one or the other. When you have a situation like this, hopefully people at work and hopefully people in the school district around there will be sensitive to your needs tomorrow morning because of what you've been through tonight, being forced out of your apartment when it was suddenly turned into a combat zone like that. But the good news, again, it seems to be winding down out there in Walton. And just to give you a little perspective, this shot that we're taking off to the right of us, as you see us in the bottom left of your screen, that shot had 3 or 4 times as many vehicles in it an hour or 2 ago. You had literally 50, 60, 70 cruisers and vans, different departments from northern Kentucky, Covington, and you had people from Fort Thomas and Florence and Boone County, as well as all kinds of different departments were arriving there, and now it's really died down quite a bit. Let's show a little bit of video from the scene earlier where it was a little bit more crowded. And you saw all these officers putting on their tactical gear, having a briefing. There's the briefing that we talked about behind the black SUV, about a dozen people, and then they are walking. That's when they're walking over to that scene.
Well, I'm going to assume this person's, well, I shouldn't assume, I guess, but my guess is he's dead. But maybe they took him into custody. I think this person's deceased. I'm wondering whether it's self-inflicted or the cops did it, but I feel like probably more self-inflicted, but I guess we'll have to see.
The person was, obviously, because they were serving a search warrant on that very person who was behind on support payments. Okay, we have the public information officer from the Boone County Sheriff's Department coming back over to where Sean is, and we're going to get an update right now.
Ready? All right, so brief update. The scene is safe. We now have a criminal investigation taking place. The suspect is deceased, self-inflicted gunshot wound. We verified that he was deceased upstairs our SWAT team went up and cleared that, and then from there we're treating it like any other incident where we have somebody who's deceased in a critical incident like this, and that's kind of where everything stands. As far as to your earlier question about residents, we did deploy gas canisters early on in this, so there may be still some contamination in those surrounding areas. With any residents who are still around here or watching, we would just caution them, but we will get them back into their homes very quickly.
Did you ever make contact with him?
We never made any kind of contact. He didn't respond, obviously, to the gas canisters. There was some information that we had received via social media, some reports that we had received. We're looking into that about some videos that he may have posted. So we're working to verify some of that information. However, we can confirm that he is in fact deceased.
Is there anything more you can tell us about what led to that major presence to serve that warrant originally?
No, other than it was a felony warrant, and he wasn't, I guess, responding. I can't really speak definitively as to the presence or how many people were there or why so many people were there. We've got to kind of sift through all of those aspects.
And how are the two deputies doing that are in the hospital?
They're stable. They're doing well. I'm happy to report that albeit they were shot, it could have been a whole lot worse, and their prognosis is pretty positive right now.
Outside of deputies, is there anyone else that was injured or transported?
No, and I'm glad you asked that, because we did canvass the entire area. We accounted for all of the residents in that complex in kind of his row next to him and really adjacent in the direction that he would have been firing out, and all residents, as far as we know, are accounted for. There are no other reported injuries, and there are no other persons inside of any one of those units.
We're hearing reports that someone was transported to St. E. Is that at all accurate?
Not that situation. Not that I'm aware of. No.
Was there anyone else in his apartment at any point tonight?
No, he was the only person located inside of his own place.
Has his family been contacted at all?
No, we'll work on that with the Boone County coroner and notifying next of kin, and then we'll release his information when appropriate.
Is there an exact moment you could share when officers realized that he took his own life?
No, we don't have anything definitive on that as of right now. Again, we believe that there may be some kind of video that exists. We received multiple reports about that, and we're going to verify that. But as far as that timing, I suspect that our investigation will yield some of those facts.
Will there be an update at or from the hospital tonight on the deputies?
We are heading up. As you can imagine, a lot of us are going to head up. We will provide an update, whether it be on camera or via press release, but there will be an update on our deputies forthcoming once, assuming they're discharged and assuming that their prognosis remains positive.
You mentioned gas canisters tonight. Those were deployed into his apartment?
Correct. That's one of the procedures to try to generate a response, to try to get somebody just to exit on their own terms, albeit, they have an incentive to get out. It's very tough to, of course, breathe in those types of environments, but he didn't respond. That in conjunction with, as I stated, those videos, no response, plus some of that information led us to believe that he could have been deceased, and then we utilized a drone, and we sent a drone up through to the second floor, and we were able to confirm that visually that he was in fact down in one of the bedrooms.
Did he talk to you guys at all, or the negotiator through any of this?
Not that I'm aware of. No, we didn't get much of a response from him except in the initial encounter.
What did he shout anything in that initial encounter?
When they initially showed up, he corresponded to them through some kind of doorbell camera or some kind of camera system, but beyond that, there was no other conversations that I'm aware of.
Thank you for your service.
What was do you know the name of the apartment complex he was living in?
I don't know the name of it, other than it's just right up here on Service Road. I don't know the complex name though.
Again, can you just touch on how those deputies are stable right now?
Yeah, they're all things considered. You know, when you hear that two of our deputies were shot multiple times, you're going to assume the worst. The mere fact that, you know, we get good news and we get confirmed good news only slightly brings some positive light to this situation, considering how this whole thing transpired tonight.
Is there an estimated time for the residents that they'll be able to get back to their homes tonight?
No estimated time, but as I touched on earlier, what we want to ensure that everyone's crystal clear on, whether it's directly in a unit right next to or just in the complex as a whole, that, you know, we did deploy those gas canisters and those are irritants, you know, so if anyone were to rush back into the home, there could still be some remnants of that, but beyond that, we plan on getting them back into their homes as quickly as possible. Their nights, like everyone else's, was very much disrupted. It's a very scary scene, and, you know, we want to get them back into a place where hopefully they can feel safe.
When we talked earlier, you said both in stable condition. One was in surgery. Is that one deputy out of surgery?
He is out of surgery, and, you know, as I said, you know, it was, from what I understand, kind of an exploratory surgery to ensure that there wasn't any damage that wasn't apparent from the outside, and from what we understand, there wasn't. And once he got out of surgery, then they started, you know, getting him healed up and getting him stable, and their families are up there with them. And of course, we have, between Northern Kentucky agencies, of course, the Boone County Sheriff's Office and the Cincinnati Police Department, maybe even others up there in a support staff as well.
Thank you. How many units do you think responded
tonight?
Yeah, tonight.
It's hard to say. I mean, it was quite a response. We had law enforcement truly from all over Northern Kentucky, Kenton County agencies, I think Campbell County agencies, of course, Boone County agencies. I'm pretty sure everyone that polices in the Northern Kentucky region offered their support tonight, and for that we're very thankful and we're very appreciative.
Did he attempt to send messages out on social media tonight? Other
than these reported videos, I'm not aware of any messages. I'm not aware of any additional posts. You know, of course, we were trying to see if we could see anything that was maybe publicly available. We were unable to do that. So we'll just use the process, the legal process, through those social media platforms to try to verify some of the things that have been reported to us.
We're negotiators with Boone County Sheriff's Office.
Yes, they're a part of, they're a subsect of our SWAT team, and so when the SWAT team's deployed, so too are our negotiators, and they were making announcements right up until we confirmed that he was down in his bedroom.
And what time was that at, do you know?
I don't have an exact time, but within the last, I would say, hour or so.
Any other guns recovered in the home?
No, other than, you know, there was one confirmed firearm recovered next to him. Beyond any other firearms that he may have possessed, we'll sort through that. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Okay. So Layla found something interesting too. Let me just touch on this, and then we'll call it for tonight. And I wonder if this is what the sheriff was referencing. It says here, somebody posted, anyone hear about the guy offing himself on live tonight in Walton, Kentucky? I wonder if that's what he's referencing. I wonder if this person went on his personal Facebook or whatever social media, live streamed it or something, you know, shot himself, and that was it. It didn't seem like he left a message, because when they asked him about a message, he didn't have a message. I wonder if he just went on live and then did it. And I'm sure it's going to be interesting. Well, I don't know if it's going to be interesting, but I am curious to know the story behind this. Is this going to be some type of child support, custody, wanting to see his kid or something? Or I don't know. It makes me think of the guy, Travis... What's the guy's name? Travis Parker? Too many names and I'm too tired. Travis. Oh, Decker. Killed his 3 kids, custody problems, all kinds of stuff. This guy almost killed 2 cops. That's the name that you have, Rose? I'll have to look into that. I'll have to look into that. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. I am sleepy. I took magnesium hours ago. I was going to go to sleep, but this was pretty crazy. I'm glad the cops are okay, man, because there's been a lot of stories. Yeah, I see people tagging that name. Somebody, oh, is this the guy? No. Really? I see some people tagging this guy. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. We'll see tomorrow. All right, guys. Have a good night. Thank you so much. Bye. Bloop, 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 bloop. Thank you. Thank you for tonight. I'm going to get some rest. I got to be up early. Early. Good night. Thank you.